If you've been scrolling through endless projector listings, watching video after video of best for business and still feel stuck wondering which model actually lives up to the hype, this review is here to cut through the noise. I've spent the last few days setting up a BenQ LH750 in a medium-sized conference room, testing its Wi-Fi casting from a laptop, and even trying it in a bright office lobby. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. What I'm going to break down is not the glossy spec sheet, but the everyday experience, the moments when a projector either saves a meeting or makes you wish you'd bought something else. First off, the biggest hesitation most buyers have with a business projector is the fear of blowing money on brightness that never gets used, or on a lamp that dies after a year of light hour claims. The LH750 promises 5,000 lumens, a laser light source rated for 30,000 hours, and a 60+% energy reduction compared with traditional lamps. In practice, those numbers translate to a pretty solid performance when you actually turn the thing on in a room that isn't completely dark. I set it up in a conference space with overhead fluorescent lighting, the kind of environment you'd see in a typical corporate office. The projected text stayed crisp, and the colors held their punch even at the back of a 100-inch screen. That brightness level is enough to avoid the washed-out look that many cheaper DLP units suffer from in ambient light. Now, the laser aspect is where the long-term value really shows up. Because it's a sealed laser engine, there are no replaceable lamps, no filter changes, and the 30,000-hour lifespan means you're looking at roughly 8 years of continuous use before any major component would need attention. For a business that runs daily presentations, that eliminates a whole class of maintenance headaches. The downside is that you pay a premium up front for that peace of mind. If your budget is tight and you only need a projector a few times a year for small meetings, the cost per use calculation might favor a lower-priced lamp-based model. Installation is another real-world factor. The LH750 comes with a 1.6x optical zoom and vertical lens shift, which means you can place the projector on a ceiling mount or even a short table and still fill a large screen without Keystone distortion. In my test, I mounted it 8 feet off the floor, aimed it at a 120-inch screen, and used the auto Keystone feature. The picture snapped into a perfect rectangle with just a button press. That flexibility is a huge win for anyone who doesn't have a dedicated projection booth. However, the unit weighs about 11 pounds and the lens housing is fairly chunky, so the initial ceiling mount job isn't a weekend DIY for someone with no tools. If you need a portable pop-up projector for on-the-go client demos, you'll probably find it a bit heavy. Connectivity-wise, BenQ gave us the basics and then some. Dual HDMI ports let you run a laptop and a media player simultaneously, while the built-in Wi-Fi and LAN control let you stream directly from a phone or tablet without a dongle. I tried casting a PowerPoint deck from my phone using the screencasting app. The latency was negligible, and the projector kept the Wi-Fi signal stable even when the office network was busy. The trade-off is that the Wi-Fi module isn't as robust as a dedicated wireless HDMI transmitter. If you're in a super crowded spectrum, you might see occasional flicker. For most office environments, though, it's more than sufficient. Let's talk picture quality beyond the headline, Full HD 1080p. The resolution is sharp enough that fine details in spreadsheets and architectural drawings stay legible without squinting. The color gamut is listed as 98% of Rec. .709, which means the colors are accurate enough for most business graphics. The projector also claims 4K HDR compatibility, but keep in mind that it's still a 1080p native panel, so you won't get true 4K detail. If you're a graphic designer or a video producer who needs genuine 4K output, the LH750 will feel like a step down. Conversely, for most corporate decks, training videos, and even occasional streaming of webinars, the image quality feels more than adequate. Where the value really shines is in the operating cost. The laser source draws far less power than a conventional lamp, so your electricity bill won't spike when you run the unit for a full-day conference. BenQ reports a 61.8% reduction in power consumption, and the numbers I logged on a wall plug meter matched that claim fairly closely. Over the life of the projector, those savings start to offset the higher purchase price, especially if you're running the projector for 4 to 5 hours a day, 5 days a week. Who should consider buying the BenQ LH750? If you run a small to medium business that needs a reliable, bright projector for daily meetings, training sessions, and occasional client pitches, this model hits the sweet spot. Schools and universities that want a low-maintenance solution for lecture halls will also benefit from the long laser lifespan. Companies that have